We're going to review Functions and Models Quiz 1 for Integrated Math 4. So the first question asks, determine the following as a function, explain why or why not. So we're given a graph, so there's a rule called the vertical line test. If we draw a vertical line through the graph, it touches the graph in two places, which is not allowed. So our correct answer for number 1 would be no, because it fails the vertical line test. So no, this is not a function because it fails the vertical line test, and we are done number 1. Moving on to number 2. Identify the domain and range of the graph. So we have to look at the graph, so we find our smallest x, which in this case, it is -5. And we find our largest x, which is +5. And the same thing for our y. We find our smallest y, which is -5, and our largest y, which is -5. And we're just looking at this circle. So it's going to be -5 to 5, -5 to 5, and we're done. Always put the smaller number first. Next, we want to know determine f of -5. So we find f of -5, which is right here. It's on the x-axis, so f of -5 is 0. You know f of 5, that is also 0 because it's on the x-axis. Number 4. Determine when f of x equals 5. So we find 5. We're looking for the y value 5. So we find the y value 5, and that is when x equals 0. We want to know when f of x equals -5. We find -5 on the y-axis, and again, that is when x equals 0. Number 5. We're given the table below. It gives the expected lifespans and gestation periods of selected animals. Gestation for mammals is the development time in the mother's uterus until birth. For humans, the mean time is 266 days. So first we're being asked to come up with an equation. So let's shrink our screen down. Go to our graphing calculator. And we're going to hit the plus sign. And we're going to hit add a table. And in X1, we're going to enter all the expected lifespans. And in Y1, we're going to enter all the mean gestation periods. So we're going to type in 24, 14, 12, 15, 23, 25, 50, 20, and 1. Now in Y1, we're going to enter our mean gestation in days, so 122, 201, 94, 330, 42, 435, 340, 330, and 21. If we want to see what the plot looks like, we will hit the magnifying glass, and we can see the graph. Now, to get the equation, we're going to type in y1 tilde, which is right next to 1. So you hit shift tilde, mx1 plus b, and our equation is y equals 5.6692. 6692 And then our B is going to be 96.8742. 742. And we are done. Number 5. Okay, this question is based on the same question. We're doing an observed value minus predicted value for the dolphin. So our observed value, what we have to do is we have to plug in the x value for the dolphin, which is 50. So we're going to type in our equation, 5.6692 parentheses 50 plus 96.8742. So this is my predicted value, 380.3342. My observed value is going to be 340. So 340 first. The minus sign is already here. Now we're going to type in our 380.3342. 380.3342. Now we're going to actually subtract them. So 340 minus 380.3342. And we get negative 40.3342. Now, explain what this means in the context of the dolphin. So the mean gestation period for the dolphin is, our answer is 40.3342. So 40.3342 days, since we're talking about, we predicted there's those 380 days that it should have been for the gestation period. The 340 is going to be 40 days lower than we predicted, because we're talking about from observed to predicted. So the observed is lower than what we actually predicted. Okay, question number 7. So let's determine the correlation coefficient R and the coefficient of determination R squared, and explain what this means in the context of the problem. So we already have that. So the R value is 0.504. And this indicates that you have to pick strong or weak. So the closer we are to 1, the stronger it is. So let's say weak positive, since it's a positive number, correlation. And that should be a decimal, not a slash. Our R squared value is also given to us. That's 0.254. And that tells us 25.4% of the data fits the line. Okay, question number 8's matching. So the first graph has a negative slope, but it's very spread far out. So it's going to be a weak negative correlation. The next one shows a positive correlation or positive slope, but it's also a weak situation compared to the next graph. So it's going to be a weak positive correlation. The next graph, the dots are very close to the line, so that's going to be a strong positive correlation. The next graph, we had to draw a vertical line because the dots are just all over the place, so there's no correlation at all. And the last graph shows a strong negative correlation because the slope is negative and the dots are very close to the line. And then the last one, 0, means there's no correlation. Negative 0.9, it's a negative, and it's very close to negative 1. This will be a strong negative correlation. 0.2 is closer to 0, so that's going to be a weak positive correlation. 0.87 is very close to 1, so it's going to be a strong positive correlation. And then negative 0.1 is very close to 0, so that's going to be a weak negative correlation. And we are done our review. Hopefully this helps you get a better score on your Function and Model Quiz 1.